I reported on board the USS Cowpens on the 11th of July, 1997 in San Diego. Lee was already a crew member on board, and I was reporting on board as a second class. It was quite a sight to walk down the berth where she was moored. And I remember walking on that ship, and I knew there was something different about that ship because people genuinely were coming up to me and greeting me. And I was like, okay, this is a different kind of a command. Immediate, can I grab your bags? Can I talk to you? Who are you? Where are you from? We immediately got underway the same week. We went up to Washington State where they have a weapons loading station, and we were getting ready to deploy. And what I remember most is we went out on Liberty. I didn't know Lee personally then, but we ended up at a bar, and he was with his circle of friends, and I was with my new circle of friends, the CSs on board, which are culinary specialists. And Lee, we didn't talk that point, but I noticed him and he noticed me. Later on that week, we came back into port. We went out in San Diego. We happened to go to the same club. And he said, he goes, I knew there was something about you. You look just as uncomfortable as me in that straight club. So that's how we ended up meeting, and we became close friends. One thing about Lee that a lot of people probably understand, everybody knows that he's passionate, he's an advocate for other people. I want you to know that he was like that as a young third class. He was the person that would walk up to a chief or an officer and question something. Why are you doing that? Do we have to do it this way? He hasn't changed from then till now. Everybody takes a different path. I stayed in the Navy, and Lee had what happened to him, but if that hadn't happened to Lee, and he hadn't taken the stance that he had for repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, I want you to know that, one, I would have retired in the Navy, still with that policy, still have never told anybody that I was gay, but it's because of people like Lee and the bad things that happened to him in his life and the passion that he had for repealing Don't Ask, Don't Tell that I was able to retire not having to worry about hiding anything, being any different than anybody else. And just so you know, Jason Lewis called me. That's a friend we have in common. He actually did try to come up this weekend. It didn't come together. But every one of the friends that we maintain in San Diego, they still pay attention to what Lee says. He still impacted their lives. And many of them came from very conservative backgrounds. But because of the way Lee is, and that he's slow and steady, he's going to talk to you. He's not necessarily in your face and aggressive about stuff, but he definitely articulates his point of view in a way that's uniquely Lee. And to be honest with you, a lot of the friends that we have and still share in common, he influenced them and he made them understand that being gay is no different than being straight. They're like any other person in this world. I'm very proud of him. He's done a lot more in my military career and for other people's military careers than he's even aware of. So thank you and congratulations.
And a big thank you to his mother!
You guys can sit down. You guys could have sat down a long time ago. Thank you. So, what an honor it is. First of all, thank you all very much for taking time out. We all know the fun going on down the block there. So thank you all for taking time out of your busy Sunday and especially market day weekends to come do this, come to the re-enlistment ceremony, and then also come celebrate AVER, American Veterans for Equal Rights, our achievements for the last year and our achievements for the last 23 years here in the Chicago area. So I just want to take a few minutes, and I want to, Mike, I really appreciate that. Mike, like I said, we go way back, and what an honor. When we were here 4 years ago, obviously it was a much bigger deal, but this is just as important to me as well. We had all the news media here and everything, and all of you that were here remember how important that was to not only myself, to our country, and look how far. I just want to tell you what we've done and what I've experienced in the last 4 years. So in the last 4 years, immediately after I re-enlisted, about a year after that, I had my orders to go to Afghanistan. So since April of 2013 until March of 2014, I was in Afghanistan for almost a year there. And what happened on the ground, during that time, I was able to be freely open, to my entire command, which that was not, I was fortunate even in the 90s to be open to some of the places I served, not so much in the Coast Guard that led me into the don't ask, don't tell situation. But while we were on the ground in Afghanistan in 2013, we had our first gay pride event in a war zone in Kandahar, Afghanistan. And we were able to, we didn't have a parade, we didn't have, look at us type thing. What we had was a huge event where we had a panel of military officers, military enlisted, and civilians who are all openly gay. And we sat at a table and had an open discussion with about 100 people, civilians, military officers, all walks of life from all NATO countries that were there. And we had such an awesome turnout to that event. And if you know anything, a lot of friends that you have might be serving, you can see that was 2013, 2014, 2015 now. They have pride almost all across military bases in this country. So we have made a lot of progress to be open, to have open service, and to be able to celebrate our achievements and what we've come from. And one thing that's always made me humble, and one thing we hope we never forget as a community, there are many, and some of you standing and sitting here, that couldn't serve, couldn't stay in service because of the ban on gays in the military. By the time we got it repealed, you might have been too old, might have been too far into your civilian life, you couldn't go back or had no desire based off the experience that you endured. And I said then, and I will say again today, I hope that my service going forward honors all of you that never had the opportunity to be able to do what I'm doing. So every day I take it a blessing that I serve. And we can't change everyone's hearts and minds. We can just be the best person that we can and hope they give us a chance and work alongside them. That's all we want. We just want equality, to be able to have the opportunity to show our skills and to show our patriotism to our country. You don't have to be a Republican or a Democrat, independent. You don't have to be anything. We're all Americans, and all we want to do is just to be able to serve our country in the best of our abilities. So I'm really fortunate. My first 4 years back went really well. It was a long year in Afghanistan. I'm fortunate to have friends and family and support me through that time and send tons of care packages throughout that year. So a lot of the media has moved on. We often think we don't have a war anymore in Afghanistan. We still have thousands of troops, men and women, serving there across the world. Please remember them, send them care packages, and keep them up in your thoughts and prayers throughout. Again, I want to say thank you for my family. A lot of my family drove here a couple hours to come up here again. My sister Rachel, my brother Michael, my sister-in-law, my new nephew Owen over there. My nieces and nephews weren't able to make the trip up. My mom Patty, and my friends throughout the board. Sophia here, I'll help you lead the Pledge of Allegiance. So I appreciate that, and all of you being here and being part of this event. So again, what an honor it is to have been 20 years ago to this day. I reported to 20 years ago I reported to boot camp. So life could have been a lot different. I could have been retired with full 20 years, but God had a different path. God had a different plan, a different life experiences. But look at the people I met. Mike, who re-enlisted me. Who would have thought 20 years later, him and I, in that 2 years that we served together, we're still friends. And what an honor and a blessing to be able to have him re-enlist and give me the oath, and he will sign the official document soon after the ceremony. And I promise you, I won't. This was the 6-year re-enlistment, so we probably won't do this kind of thing again. The goal is to get promoted at least to chief, and we'll have a big party then. But hopefully, I make chief before I retire. But we'll have a big party then. But we won't do this again in 6 years. But I think it's important to do this to remind people of all we fought for and all the people who never had the opportunity that I now have. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart. No matter what you did in this movement, what kind of support you've given us, some of you have worked for years, some of you have donated, you've worked really hard, and please, I thank you. I'm standing here and being able to do this because all of you and all those out there that supported this cause and fought to make this happen. So thank you very much. The party's just begun. AVER is very important. We're not done. We're not done. We have lofty goals and lofty plans to move ahead. We want to stay visible in our community, stay strong in our community, and we still have work to do. There's still lots of work to do, but thank you so very much. Jim, do you want to say a few words? Okay. Thank you so very much. You can move inside, have a party. Please don't leave without at least coming by and seeing me so I can thank you personally if you got to take off. Thank you so very much.